I guess congratulations still in order. We haven't actually kicked off the season yet, and you are still defending national champions to this point. You're going to be all season long, but I talked to you after the game. How are things now? I mean, how do you feel after you've digested it, gone through the off season, and everything else?
Well, obviously it's been great, but we talk to the players all the time. The new groups that's here now is that it's great that we still had the 2018 national championship, but we're building something new. So, unfortunately, we can't live in the past, but we got to go to the future. And so, there's a lot of guys that are having to push and changing roles. All of a sudden, being a role of a leader or being counted on so heavily that the guys that are returning obviously feel that they've got to take a step in a leadership role. Some of the freshmen, some of the new guys that are stepping up into playing roles now are also facing a different deal. So we believe it's really a process that we go through every year just to develop our team chemistry.
Now, one player you have back, I just got to catch up with him, and I asked you about him before the Stag Bowl last year, was Tevin Jones.
Right.
Somebody who had gone through some travails a year ago, has built himself back up. And tell me about kind of that maturation process you've seen for him, the leadership he's providing right now. What are you seeing right now in Tevin as a linebacker and as a man for the team?
Well, it's really interesting because it's been a little rusty and getting back into it. We haven't had many practices. We're obviously moving him along as quickly as we can. I want him to be in a leadership role because he's a dynamic leader. And so I've put him in situations to where, and ask him to lead some certain things. He's not on the Unity Council, but he still wants to be. I want him into a leadership role with our team. And he's also got to reestablish himself as the leader of our defense and a guy that everybody looks to make the plays and be the one that will rally the defense. And we got a really super nucleus of kids coming back on defense, and obviously having him really gives us an added incentive to develop a great defense again. So that's our goal.
Coach Harmon then has a good group to choose from this season, it sounds like. On offense, Jace Hammock had some injuries kind of at the end of that season last year. Luke Poorman had an injury during the middle of the season. I hear you have some freshman quarterbacks that are raising eyebrows at this point, at least one. What's your job like right now, trying to pick who's going to be your starter against Albright on the 14th?
Yeah, it's interesting because Jace is still a little bit banged up, and we really want him to come back and where he's 100% and can get out and compete. Luke's doing really well, and he is not having any kind of leftovers from that injury last year, and he led our football team this last week. He will continue to compete for the starting position. What we're really working and searching for right now is the running back to replace Markeith and some receiving cores to replace the guys we lost there.
I understand you had one transfer from Linfield, I think nicknamed Cheetah. I'm not going to even try to pronounce correct names, but he has been kind of that discussion point for a lot of people about potential running backs and whatnot for you. And it seems like Mary Hardin-Baylor has become not a transfer central by any stretch of the imagination, but it has caught the attention nationally of players that, hey, if you want a chance to win a national championship, come on down. Is that what you're sensing here from what you've seen from players like him that have come along?
It's really surprising for Chitterboom to come here, and he is really a dynamic person. And my first conversation with him after he got here was that he just wanted his teammates here to understand that he's not a person that can just up and leave and turn his back on. He's not that kind of person, but he felt like he had to make a move. And as far as the other transfer kids, we obviously feel like that if a guy can come in, establish himself as a great teammate, we're willing to give guys an opportunity to do that. But there's a prerequisite that goes along with it. Is, a lot of times when you have transfers, if you're not careful, you get some guys that are a little unselfish and or selfish, and we really want to get guys that want to be a part of our program and part of our team. And so, if they choose to do that, then we'll let them play. But if not, then they're not going to be a part of our program.
Coach, 2016 national champion, 2017 national runner-up, 2018 national champion, 3 straight years in the Stag Bowl. This is rarefied air, along with Whitewater and Mount Union when you think about it, going back, maybe Rowan in the 90s if you want to go back that far. But does it get tougher every year to keep doing this? And how do you get back there again for a 4th straight year?
I think it does. It gets tougher because, we were so blessed last year, for the last 3 years of just getting to play at a high level. And we feel like that for so many times and so many opportunities, we had chances to get to the Stag Bowl, and for one reason or another didn't make it. But it's always been the kind of the goal and the ambition of our program to get there. I think you kind of got to set that aside and just say, how do we develop the chemistry of our team? How do we develop the guys that are in different roles of leadership or roles of all of a sudden playing? And it's critical that our coaches focus on that, because we're a long way from being a championship team right now. But we feel like we know what it takes to get there, and our guys are going to be put in that kind of scope of expectation, the level of expectations, and so guys have to rise to the occasion and as we move along.
Everybody's 0-0, I guess, at the beginning of the season. So if you can string together 14 to 15 wins, that's how you do it. But it's tough to do it constantly. It's a team that's coming up here. Let's talk about game 1 real quick. Albright. We talked about the quarterback choices and need a running back to kind of step up here. And defensively, you want to see a little less rust from certain players. Got it. Are you surprised at all, though? I know last year Coach Harmon was man of the sideline in that game specifically. But are you surprised? I'm sure you saw the score. I'm sure you saw most of that game, the game film and everything, that Albright was so willing to come back and try this again after a 91-7 game last year.
I'm not surprised at all. I know Coach John is a guy that is very dedicated, and I think that he was decimated in his program when he had some discipline issues that he had to deal with. I think anybody anywhere could possibly go through that kind of situation this day and time, and he's held firm, he's been strong, and he's going to continue to be that way. And I won't be surprised at all if Albright's not a much better team than they were last year.
My pick actually to bounce back in the win column the most in the country after posting 0 wins last year. So it should be interesting to see how they perform in the 14th.
Yeah.
Finally, I ask you every year after the Stag Bowl what your future is. You look great and healthy right now. Are you getting more revitalized in every offseason? That R word, that retirement thing, I don't see you doing the Andrew Luck anytime soon here to us. So, how you feeling overall?
Oh, I feel great, and it's always fun for me to get going. And this is just such a big part, not just my life, but my family's life. And it's been a big part of our lives for years. So, there's going to be a time when I'm going to retire and I'm going to have to quit. But
2030 is long away,
Oh, yeah, that's right. So who knows?
Last thing, your daughter Corey, we've talked about her, interviewed her last year on the sideline of Stag Bowl. She looked great at that point. How is she feeling?
She's great. She's doing well, and I God bless you for asking. She has been through an awful lot, and boy, what a God presence she had with our football team and all the stuff that we went through. But it was just a God thing that week that we were playing Wisconsin Whitewater, and she had her transplant, and it was a real blessing, and we feel very honored and blessed that she's active and she loves to watch this football team play.
Indeed. I've seen her on the sideline in the national semifinals a couple of years ago, and last year in the Stag Bowl itself. Your biggest fan out there.
She is.
But, Coach, good luck this season. We'll cross paths at some point, I'm sure, and then I'll see you in Shenandoah, win, lose, or draw, as Mary Hardin-Baylor is basically host, per se, of it. But perhaps on the sideline coaching again, we'll see what happens in 14, 15 games.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Frank.